So yeah, I'm actually excited to hear this. I have not heard it yet, but there's a new Apple podcast. It's about Apple history, and it's hosted by two Cult of Mac alumni, which we heard word of this this month. It comes out this month. That, we got a Slack message from Graham Bauer. He's the guy who's written so many fantastic Apple Watch how-tos and stuff for us. And so Graham started this podcast with Charlie Sorrell, who used to do our how-tos. And this new podcast is called Apple Core. And they host
Great
it.
Name.
And they, in this podcast, they explored a history of. Each episode explores the history of a different Apple product, focusing on what we can learn from Apple's past and what this tells us about the company's future plans. Let's see. Supposedly they're going to have Leander on there, and maybe even you, right? Let's see. Mm-hmm. First 3 episodes are already out now. They released them all at once. I guess maybe is that a podcast strategy that people do? Like, oh, we got to have 3 at once. We've got to come out the gate early.
I was surprised that they did, but they've got like a whole several hours worth of content to listen to right out of the gate.
Yeah, it's like the Apple TV Plus strategy, right? Release 3 the first week and then 1 a week for, I don't know, ever for them in their case. Let's see. First 3 episodes are out. The first one, they cover the history of Airport, the first consumer Wi-Fi technology. And then they cover Mac OS 8. And finally, you're going to love this, the Nike Plus iPod Sport Kit. Company's first foray into health and fitness, designed to work with an iPod Nano. And I admit, as excited I am to hear this exists, I have not yet subscribed and started listening to it. But you did, right? So you checked out at least 1 episode.
Oh yeah, I was. I didn't know that if Graham or Charlie had any experience podcasting before, but it is a very finely produced podcast. Like the artwork is gorgeous. It's very thoroughly researched. There are very pleasant voices to listen to. It's nicely edited and put together. Like they clearly put a lot of work into their show notes. I'll admit, I had no clue of the Nike Plus iPod Sport Kit existed.
Oh, really?
Even as an Apple history aficionado who's like paying attention to things around that time. But like, yeah, I had no clue that product existed. And they tell the whole story of this weird thing, beginning to end.
You haven't been reading Today in Apple history religiously enough.
Yeah, it's weird. Like it feels like they covered 3 different topics that pretty much lined up with our Today in Apple history posts that were published around that same time.
What a coincidence.
Yeah. It's almost like they work here or something.
Yeah, I saw the lead graphic that Graham provided us with, and yeah, it's great. He always does great images. I mean, he's a designer, and he's also very meticulous. He's a good journalist and a good how-to writer, and also super nice guy and fitness buff. My God, I he challenged me to some Apple Watch fitness things a while back, and we you'll never guess who won, but I still get like daily messages on my Apple Watch. Graham just finished a workout, 5K outdoor run. It's like, oh my God. I read this stuff and I'm like, it should be motivational, but it makes me just go, oh God, what's the point? Graham just finished another 1.5 hour weight training workout. Jeez, okay, Graham, slow down, buddy. You're already ripped. I guess that's how you stay ripped.
Mm-hmm. Like this Nike thing, it was like a Nike product that required you to buy a special shoe that had a hole in it, and then you had like a dongle thing that you put in there, and like another thing that you plugged into the 30-pin iPod connector on your iPod, where you had an iPod Nano or something else, and it was basically doing what the Apple Watch does now. So yeah, that's where it all started.
Fascinating. So I got to say, I've worked with Charlie many times, conversed with him many times in Slack, but I've never actually heard his voice.
He also has a very soft English accent, just like Graham.
Well, I'm definitely going to check this one out. So, what's it called? It's called
Apple.
Just tell people again. Apple Core is the name of this podcast. It's available, wherever you want to listen to a podcast.